My sister always prided herself on her self-control. Even after 6 years of dating, she still insisted she was untouched. One day, I noticed something strange. Her tongue was covered in metal piercings. That was when I realized she had been using a different way all along. When I confronted her, she only smirked. This way, men enjoy it more, and they become obsessed precisely because they can't have me. You wouldn't understand. However, looking at the damage already spreading through her mouth, I could not stay silent. I told her the risks: disease, even cancer, and that men obsessed with that kind of purity weren't good people to begin with. She did not listen. That very night, she gave herself to a powerful heir. Later, when the woman he truly loved returned, he discarded her without hesitation. She laughed it off, calling him a scumbag. However, on my birthday, she hid a knife inside a cake and slammed it into my face. As the blade pierced through me, she burst into laughter. If you hadn't pushed me to give it away, why would he stop valuing me? Why would he leave me? This is all your fault. You deserve to die. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day I first saw the piercings on her tongue. Penny, what century are you living in? Why are you still so old-fashioned? I jolted awake. My older sister Nina Sterling was leaning over me with her tongue sticking out, wagging it back and forth in front of my face. The whole length of it was studded. A chill ran through me. What are you doing? Looking at her, all I could think about was the knife she had once driven into my face. Instinctively, I took a step back. Seeing my reaction, she laughed. She stepped closer, grabbed my hand, and pressed my fingertip against her tongue. Well, feels textured, doesn't it? She licked the corner of her lips, her eyes full of provocation. You don't even know how much Marcus loves it. All these years, he's had countless women around him, but I'm the only one he's publicly acknowledged as his girlfriend. The damp, uneven sensation under my fingertip was real. Revolting. So I really had come back. I forced down the nausea and played along. You really are something. She lifted her chin proudly. Of course. Otherwise, why would the Mercer family specifically ask for me in the marriage arrangement? I nodded. The Mercer family is well known in high society. Once you marry into them, don't forget about me. She let out a short laugh and tapped my shoulder. It's not like I didn't try to refuse the match. But what can I do? Marcus Mercer just can't get enough of me. You can be the real Sterling daughter all you want. What's yours still ended up in my hands. I smiled. The reason she was so confident was simple. A year ago, I had been found and brought back to the Sterling family their real daughter. As for her, she was only the foster child my family had taken in after I went missing. A year ago, when the Mercers came to propose the marriage, the one they originally wanted was me. Mr. Mercer admitted I was not as polished as Nina, but at least I carried the Sterling family's blood. I looked at Marcus. He was handsome. He did not object. At the time, I thought after finally finding my biological parents, and now with this marriage, things were finally turning in my favor. So I agreed, full of hope. What I did not expect was that after dinner, sounds would come from Nina's room, loud enough for almost the entire house to hear. She was not my father's biological daughter, but he had always doted on her. Thinking something was wrong, he forced the door open and saw her, clothes disheveled, draped across Marcus. He was furious. He slapped her on the spot. This is outrageous. He's your sister's fiancé. Vivian Sterling, my stepmother, immediately stepped in front of her. How is this Nina's fault? Nina is gorgeous. Everyone had been drinking. They're young. You know how it. Nina suddenly dropped to her knees in front of me, tears streaming down her face as she slapped herself. I didn't mean to. I swear. I drank what you gave me. I wasn't thinking clearly. No, I was wrong. Please don't make me leave. My father looked at me, disbelief written all over his face. Penny, sweetheart. I was about to explain that I had not done anything, but Marcus let out a light laugh and pulled Nina to her feet. They're both daughters of the Sterling family. It makes no difference to me. Nina has the better image. She's more suitable. With that, there was nothing my father could do. I left, shaking with anger, slamming the door behind me. A few days later, I forced myself to swallow it. I told myself Nina had lived as the eldest daughter of this family for years. Of course she felt insecure. And Marcus, agreeing to marry me one moment, betraying me the next. It was not worth holding on to. One day, as I passed by Nina's room, I overheard Vivian speaking. Listen carefully. Marcus gets bored easily. If you give in too quickly, he'll lose interest. Nina laughed. Don't worry, Mom. I've been with him for 6 years. And I am still a virgin. I have my methods. I had been confused about that line until the day I caught her in front of the bathroom mirror, counting the steel beads in her own tongue. That was when I figured out what her method was. The old me, decent person that she was, had actually warned her. Doing that long term isn't good for your health. And this is a marriage alliance, you can't just back out. You should take better care of yourself. She thought about it, misunderstood what I meant. And that very night, she gave herself to Marcus. What I had not seen coming was that, when Marcus' first love came home from overseas, he would walk away from Nina without a backward glance. And in the end, she blamed everything on me. The thought of it made my cheek throb where the knife had gone in. I forced myself to stay calm and asked as if surprised, but you've heard the rumors, right, about Marcus and the woman he can't forget? She nudged me, completely confident. So what? The thing men love most in this life is the thing they can't have. As long as I keep doing what I'm doing with my mouth, he keeps fantasizing. No first love, no nothing can pull him out of that. Seeing how confident she was, I felt a flicker of satisfaction. In my previous life, I had been able to move on from this arranged marriage so quickly for a reason. I had someone investigate Marcus. It didn't take long to find out what kind of person he was. A regular at private rooms and clubs, 7 nights a week, surrounded by women. What kind of problems he might be carrying, no one could say. He had to be a walking petri dish. And Nina, knowing that, was sitting on cloud 9 because she'd figured out how to please him with her mouth. I made a show of glancing at my phone. Look, don't take this the wrong way. Since I'm the PR director at Sterling Group, after the merger was announced, I had someone keep an eye on Marcus. She frowned. Stop bringing up your PR job. Just say what you want. I handed her the phone. I'm just concerned about the family's reputation. She snatched it from me. The moment she saw it, her expression changed. The screen showed Marcus going in and out of clubs, a different woman in his arms each time. She tossed the phone back to me, quickly fixing her lipstick. I'm heading out. Cover for me with Mom and Dad. Tell them I went to bed early. My dad was not a prude, but he had a thing about clubs. He thought decent young women did not belong in places like that, especially not Sterling daughters. The family name was on the line. I nodded. All right, just make sure you keep Marcus under control. She bristled. Don't think I don't see what you're doing, pitting him and me against each other so you can slide back in. Not happening. She stalked out in her heels. She did not come back that night. The next morning, she showed up at breakfast wearing a mask. My dad gave her a look. What's going on, sweetheart? Take that off and eat. She avoided his gaze, her voice slightly off. I think I caught a cold. I'll skip breakfast, I don't want to pass it to you. I almost laughed out loud. She had been with Marcus all night, and her mouth was wrecked. Vivian hurried over, and helped her sit down. Did you get cold last night? I had ginger tea sent up to you. Nina looked across the table at me. I gave it to Penny. She wanted some. Vivian whipped her head around. Penny, what's wrong with you? You know your sister isn't in good health. I made that tea specially for her and you still took it? She caught the way my dad's eyebrows lowered and softened her voice. I'm just saying, if you wanted some, I would have made you your own. There's no need to take hers. Besides, she's marrying into the Mercer family in a month. She can't afford to get sick. Nina, of all people, jumped to my defense. Mom, Penny didn't mean any harm. Stop, please. Then she turned to me, her tone gentle again. Penny, you're in PR. Come look at these wedding dresses with me. Tell me which one suits me best. I had no idea what she was up to, but I followed her up. The moment we stepped inside, she yanked off her mask. A foul, rotting smell hit me immediately. Her mouth was covered in angry red sores, disgusting to look at. I forced a concerned tone. What happened to you? She tossed the mask aside. The piercings got infected. You used to be a doctor. Take a look. I hesitated. She suddenly grabbed a knife and pressed it against her face, her voice turning hysterical. Hurry up, or I'll tell Mom and Dad you've been bullying me. That trick of hers had a 100% hit rate. She might be a foster, but after 15 years, my dad treated her like blood. He defended her on autopilot. Just earlier, even though I was clearly the one wronged, he had not said a word. I let out a quiet sigh. Fine. Put the knife down. Looks like the friction is too much. The implant sites are tearing. I'll go to the pharmacy and get you something to ease it for now. She smiled. Smug. By the way, since you've been keeping tabs on Marcus, the second you spot anything off, you tell me. Once I'm officially Mrs. Mercer, I'll put in a word with Mr. Mercer about you. Marcus has a cousin. The lame one. Edward. You'll be set up with him. Don't act like that's beneath you. He's a Mercer. Without me, you don't get within a mile of that family in this lifetime. I made a non-committal sound and walked out. On my way to the pharmacy, my assistant called. Miss Sterling, there's an update on Whitney Bell. I pulled up the date, right on schedule. Marcus's first love, Whitney Bell, was flying in. Her flight would land in less than 30 minutes. I went to the pharmacy, then quickly headed back. I swapped a few vitamin tablets into an antibiotic box and handed it to Nina. She saw me hesitating and kicked me, annoyed. I hate it when you act like this. If you have something to say, just say it. I drew a slow breath. Marcus's first love is back in town. They're meeting at the Royal Hotel, room 7032. Her expression changed instantly. She yanked the mask back over her mouth and stormed out, fury in every step. First love? She dares to seduce my fiancé? Let's see how far she gets. She let out a cold laugh. Imagine her face when she watches Marcus undone in front of me. That's going to wreck her. After she left, I finally relaxed. An hour later, the Mercer family came calling. The first words out of their mouths were that they were canceling the engagement. Vivian's face turned red with anger. What is the meaning of this? Are the Mercers playing games with my Nina? I took my time and produced photos my surveillance team had gotten at the airport. Half an hour ago, my sister went chasing after Marcus. Cheating allegation. Royale Hotel, room 7032. Vivian saw the photos and slapped me hard across the face. Why didn't you say something earlier? The nerve of that woman trying to seduce my daughter's fiancé. Get people there now. I want her dragged out of that hotel. My dad was banging the table. Go now. Calling off the engagement is one thing. Nina getting hurt is another. He paused, then turned to me. Penny, you know people in the media. Call them. If the Mercer family tries anything, I want their reputation destroyed by tomorrow. I gave him a docile little nod. The whole convoy roared up to the front of the Royale, and we marched up to room 7032. From inside came unmistakable, explicit sounds. Vivian clutched at her chest. She's heartbroken there. I will not let him get away with this. On her order, security kicked the door in. I lunged in first and slapped the lights on. The whole room went still. Vivian sank to the floor. Nina, what are you doing? Nina was on the bed. The problem was that Marcus wasn't. A man old enough to be her father jerked the sheets over himself the instant the lights came on. The color drained from his face as he recognized the crowd filling the doorway. My father's expression cracked. Chairman Porter? The room went dead silent. Chairman Porter sat on the Sterling Group board. He attended our family banquets. He had known Nina since she was a teenager. Vivian staggered backward. No. During the commotion, Nina's mask had slipped off. Under the bright hotel lights, there was nowhere left to hide. Her lips were swollen, the corners split, and red sores crawled across her tongue. She looked from Chairman Porter to the crowd, then toward the broken doorway. Confusion quickly gave way to panic. What is this? She screamed. I came here for Marcus. Chairman Porter practically launched himself off the bed. She approached me first. The suite erupted. Reporters surged forward while security struggled to maintain order. Cameras flashed non-stop. Nina rushed toward them. Stop taking pictures. A reporter dodged her. Miss Sterling, how long have you been involved with Chairman Porter? We're not involved. Is this why the Mercer engagement was cancelled? No. Did Marcus Mercer discover the affair? No. Each answer only generated more questions. Then the elevator doors opened. Marcus stepped out. Whitney Bell stood beside him. The sight of their clasped hands was enough to make Nina freeze. Marcus took in the wrecked suite, the reporters, Chairman Porter, and Nina's exposed condition. Disgust darkened his face. Nina. His voice held none of the affection she was used to. She rushed toward him. Marcus, listen to me. He immediately stepped aside. Don't touch me. The rejection landed harder than any public humiliation. Nina stopped mid-step. Marcus swept his gaze across the room. For the past year you've accused me of cheating every time I spoke to another woman. A bitter laugh escaped him. Meanwhile you've been sleeping with company directors? I haven't. I don't care whether you have or not. His arm settled around Whitney's waist. The engagement is over. Then he walked away. Whitney followed without a word. Neither looked back. Nina collapsed onto the carpet. Within days the scandal spread everywhere. The hotel photographs leaked first. Then text messages surfaced. Audio recordings followed. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a string of relationships far more complicated than anyone imagined. The reputation Nina had spent years building disintegrated almost overnight. The Mercer family terminated every planned partnership with the Sterlings. Investors grew nervous. Several board members resigned to distance themselves from the controversy. Even my father seemed to age visibly. Then the medical report arrived. Years of damage had left serious lesions throughout Nina's mouth. The specialist warned that some tissue changes were already bordering on precancerous. The same outcome I had warned her about once before. For the first time, genuine fear appeared in her eyes. Weeks later, she showed up outside my office. The woman standing there barely resembled the confident socialite who used to command every room she entered. She looked exhausted. Did you know this would happen? She asked. I set aside my paperwork. You're asking the wrong thing. A flicker of anger crossed her face. I continued calmly. You should be asking why you ignored every warning you received. The words hit their mark. Her shoulders sagged. Deep down, she already understood. Marcus had left because of his own choices. Her illness came from years of reckless behavior. The scandal grew from secrets she thought would never surface. None of it had anything to do with me. The architect of her downfall had been staring back at her in the mirror all along. A month later, Vivian and Nina left the country. The Sterling family quietly severed financial support. There were no tearful farewells or dramatic reconciliations. They simply disappeared from our lives. Without Nina creating obstacles at every turn, my career advanced rapidly. The board finally recognized who had been protecting the company's interests all these years. 3 years later, I became the youngest executive director in Sterling Group history. During the celebration banquet, my father approached me. Time had worn away much of his former authority. Regret showed plainly on his face. I'm sorry. For once, there were no explanations attached to the apology. No excuses. No attempts to shift blame. Just honesty. I studied him for a moment before raising my glass. To the future. The past was already buried. And after everything that had happened, I had learned a simple truth. Some people spend their lives searching for enemies when their worst one has been standing beside them. From the beginning. I signed the glass down on the table. The applause around me blurred into something distant, like it belonged to someone else's life. Then the lights flickered. Once. Twice. The chandeliers overhead swayed, though there was no wind. A security alarm should have sounded. It didn't. Instead, every screen in the ballroom, phones, monitors, even the live broadcast wall, glitched at the same time. A single image replaced everything. Nina. Or what was left of her public identity. But it wasn't footage from the hotel. It was live. She was standing in the middle of the Sterling Group headquarters atrium, wearing a company access badge, wearing my name tag. A receptionist screamed in the background. She bypassed security. How is she inside? Then the feed cut. Silence snapped back into the banquet hall like a broken wire. My father's phone rang immediately. He answered. His face drained of color within seconds. No, that facility is locked down. Pause. What do you mean she's in the server room? Another pause. His hand tightened. She can't even access level 4 clearance without biometric approval. A longer silence. Then barely audible. That's my daughter's credentials. Every head in the room turned toward me. I didn't move. Because I hadn't given anyone my credentials. And I hadn't lost them either. The screen behind us flickered again. New footage. Nina stood inside the main data core. Except she wasn't alone. Rows of monitors lit up around her like a digital cathedral. And on every screen, my face. Hundreds of versions of it. Smiling. Speaking. Walking. Sleeping. All from cameras I didn't recognize. A system I had never authorized. Then Nina looked directly into one of the lenses. And smiled. I told you, her voice came through every speaker in the building, calm and clear. You were never the only one planning ahead. Security finally broke into the ballroom. But they weren't looking for me. They were looking at me. One of them raised a weapon. Ma'am, please step away from the exits. I slowly turned my head. What are you talking about? He hesitated. Then showed me his tablet. My own face. Flagged. Labeled. Unauthorized system intrusion. Primary suspect. A second alert popped up immediately after. Global financial transfer initiated. Sterling Group accounts draining. The ballroom erupted into chaos. Phones lit up everywhere. Bank alerts. Frozen assets. Locked accounts. Board members shouting over each other. And above it all, Nina's voice again, soft, almost amused. I used your reputation, she said. The same way you used mine. My father grabbed my arm. This is impossible. I didn't look at him. Because I was already realizing something worse. The system wasn't being hacked. It was being reassigned. From inside. Then the final screen came online. A single line of text. Admin ownership transfer complete. New owner. Nina Sterling. Not Foster. Not substitute. Not replacement. The real one. At least according to every system we built. The room went completely still. Even the alarm stopped. Then, from somewhere deep inside the building, a distant voice echoed through the speakers one last time. Nina, laughing softly. Now tell me, she said. Who destroyed who?